All right, let's talk about something that sounds like it's straight out of a techno thriller, but it's a very real vulnerability in our modern world. What if for just 24 hours, GPS just stopped?
You know that feeling, right? You're somewhere you don't know, your phone dies, and for just a second, there's that little ping of panic. That reliable little blue dot that tells you where you are, it's just gone.
Okay, now take that small personal moment of being lost and multiply it by about 8 billion. Imagine that blue dot vanishes, not just for you, but for every single person on the planet, all at the same time. That's what we're talking about today, and trust me, the consequences go way beyond just getting lost. So let's start the clock. In the first few hours, the most obvious parts of our global machine, they just start to seize up, and it all begins with how we get around.
And this isn't just a guess. Experts like Dana Gaward have laid it out pretty clearly. The first thing we'd notice isn't some problem up in space. Nope. The chaos would start right here, on the ground, on our roads, in our skies, and across our oceans.
The effect is instantaneous. In the air, you have thousands of planes suddenly flying partially blind. Now, pilots have older backups, sure, but they are nowhere near as precise. Any plane that needs GPS to land in bad weather, it's got to go somewhere else. The result is just instant chaos. Major airports become giant, expensive parking lots, and passengers are stranded all over the globe. And it's the exact same story out at sea. You have these massive container ships forced to go back to using tech from centuries ago. But the real danger, their collision avoidance systems, the things that keep them from running into each other, just go dark. Ports turn into logistical nightmares, and if you're in trouble on the water, search and rescue teams are basically looking for a needle in a haystack without any coordinates. This isn't just about being late or stuck somewhere. We're talking about money. A lot of money. A study in the UK estimated the economic hit at over $1 billion a day, and that's just for one country. The global price tag would be absolutely astronomical. And you don't have to be an economist to get it. The folks on the front lines, like this person from a marine towing company, they say it a lot more directly. For them, it's not some economic model, it is a catastrophe, plain and simple. So after just a few hours, global travel is in total gridlock. But here's the thing. This is just the tip of the iceberg. What we can see is masking a much deeper, much more fundamental problem that's about to unfold. So that chaos in transportation, it's actually hiding a much bigger problem. You see, GPS isn't just about where you are, it's about when you are. Those satellites up there are basically flying atomic clocks, and it turns out our entire modern civilization is completely hooked on their timing signals. And you want to know where that dependency is strongest? Finance. Every single trade on Wall Street is time-stamped down to the microsecond using GPS. It's how they keep everything fair. The second that signal disappears, the clocks at different banks start to drift apart. And to prevent a complete meltdown of bad trades, the only safe move is to slam on the brakes and stop all trading. Period. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Asking about the value of GPS is like asking about the value of oxygen. You don't really think about it until you suddenly can't breathe. And in this situation, the entire global financial system is gasping for air. It's that critical. Okay, so by the afternoon of our 24-hour blackout, the problem is cascading. The failure of location and timing starts to infect the very bones of our society, our critical infrastructure. Just think about your cell phone. Your 4G and 5G connections, they depend on cell towers being perfectly synchronized, and they use GPS to do it. Without that signal, their internal clocks start to drift. After just a few hours, they're not talking to each other correctly anymore. That means dropped calls, data that won't load, and maybe even entire regional networks just going dark. You can literally see the dominoes falling in real time. What started as a travel problem became a financial crisis, then a communications breakdown. By midday, credit card machines are failing. By the afternoon, supply chains are grinding to a halt, and we're staring down the very real risk of power outages. So, why power outages? Well, it comes down to a piece of tech called a PMU. Think of it like a heart monitor for the electrical grid. You have these sensors all over the country, and they all have to be perfectly synchronized to give a clear picture of the grid's health. And what's their timekeeper? You guessed it, GPS. The moment GPS goes down, these PMUs become useless. Their data is instantly out of sync. So the grid operators, they effectively go blind. They can't see an instability developing, which dramatically increases the risk of one small problem turning into a massive, cascading blackout.
And that right there is the truly sobering lesson. The most dangerous failures aren't the ones we see on TV. They're the ones happening inside the invisible infrastructure that quietly powers our entire world. As our 24-hour outage draws to a close, the crisis escalates to the highest possible level. Because the system that was originally built for war has now become a modern military's greatest vulnerability.
I mean, the difference is just staggering. With GPS, a military has smart bombs that hit their targets and can track its own forces in real time. Without it, you're back to using unguided dumb bombs and paper maps. The entire fleet of advanced drones, grounded. That huge technological edge that countries rely on, it just evaporates overnight. So, the 24 hours are up. The satellites flicker back to life. The world breathes a collective sigh of relief. What happens next? Well, we have to learn from the darkness.
The expert assessment is, well, it's blunt. According to Dana Gaward, the US, and frankly much of the world, just isn't prepared for this. We don't have a resilient PNT architecture. That's positioning, navigation, and timing. In other words, we've put all our eggs in one satellite basket.
And the truly sobering thing is that solutions do exist. We could build ground-based backups like Elorin. We could design receivers that use multiple satellite systems like Europe's Galileo or China's Beidou. We can and should train our pilots and soldiers to operate in a GPS-denied world. A plan B is totally possible.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We poured billions into creating a miraculous global positioning system that completely changed the world. But have we invested anywhere near enough thought or effort or resources into creating a global plan B? After a day of total chaos, that's the one question everyone would finally be asking.